Hey, that's what happened.
Not good.
All right.
So you graduate high school.
I did.
Do you remember what year you graduated high school?
Yeah, 83.
Graduated no.
Sorry, 74. That was college. That was college. But, you know, college was like high school. Except I had a lot more fun.
It was almost
college.
as long hearing those two numbers.
It was much longer than high school. But, yeah, you know, that would have been appropriate, though. I actually graduated
All right, so
high school
high school in 74.
4. Yep.
Okay.
I have a ring.
A high school ring?
Mm-hmm.
I had a high school ring. I lost
Southside High School. Oh. That's gone.
You lost that too?
No.
Or you pawned it?
I hit Denise square in the head sleeping one night.
Oh, God.
Because I kind of wailed.
Yeah.
I used to wail at night.
Yeah.
And I pegged her right there.
Oh.
Knocked her out in bed. Thought she was dead. And you can't ask her.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
She told me.
Pegged her.
Yeah. Actually, I think she said
she wouldn't let me wear my college ring when I got in.
Yeah.
So, because of that.
Yep. All right. So, graduate high school in 74. And you go off to where? Do you go to trade school? Do you try? Well, what happens?
Okay, y'all. I used to love to experiment and partake in it was the 70s, okay? So it was the drug culture and the sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Okay. Do you remember what your favorite band was back then?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No. Well, you're going back way too far because that would have been like...
Chicago?
No, way before that.
We don't know.
I'll think of it eventually, and I'll, believe it or not, I'll interrupt you in the middle of something.
No, I
and
believe
come back and tell you. But,
so, do you go to you get accepted or go to a college? I mean, you graduated.
Well, I applied. No. What happens was, I wasn't going to go to college.
Okay.
I wasn't college material.
So why did you end up going, or why did you go to the first college?
I didn't go to the first college. My dad told me I needed to do something with my life.
Okay.
Because I was out till 2, 3 in the morning every morning with my friends. I had no responsibility. I did not follow rules. I was the black sheep.
Okay.
All right. And my dad goes, son, this cannot continue under my roof. Mm-hmm. You got 2 choices. Mm-hmm. You can either go into the military or you can go to the Citadel. All right, for those of you that don't know what the Citadel is, it is the college that he went to for his freshman stuff, or for his undergraduate. It's the Military College of South Carolina, and you have to be in the military to do it. So he gave me 2 horrible choices. You have to understand, Vietnam is going on.
Yeah. And you are peace, love.
I hell am not. You don't want me in there trying to shoot people. I'm a good shot,
right?
But I don't shoot people. Okay? I'm non-violent.
Yeah.
Always have been. my dad also told me that he didn't believe totally this way, but he was very nonviolent. He just didn't believe it to the extent that I did, which is there's just
under no circumstance.
And you'll see why, if he asked me a question related to it, why I was totally nonviolent and don't judge other people based on what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. All right. So, well, your dad gives you a choice.
Okay, gave me a choice, and I go, and this was a very tense evening. I'm at home. Dad is laying down the law.
Can we pause for a second?
Uh-huh.
How many years after high school is this? Immediately after high school.
Well, that's summer, spring break.
Okay. Summer break.
And I learned.
Oh, geez. I don't think you can say that, but well,
I can say it.
I can put a beep.
No. I can say that.
Uh-oh. All right, so very intense conversation that night.
Very intense, Nate. I have to sort of tell you where I was. My mom had gone through several unsuccessful back operations, and my dad, of course, was a doctor of dental surgery, so he's a doctor. He can write scripts, everything else. But anyway, my mom is doing a lot of drugs, and the 70s is sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And my dad always told me, big mistake he made is how can you say something about a drug when you've never done it? So that set a light bulb off in my head.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to do as many drugs as I can do and not get addicted.
Very interesting philosophy.
Well, I was very successful. Very successful. I did all of Mom's drugs. We're talking about, some of these were opioids, some of them were whatever they had back then.
Sure.
But I learned a lot about different drugs. Now, at the same time, I can say this because my father has passed.
Oh, gosh.
I would maybe delete this. I'm going to say it. But my dad, being president of the South Carolina Dental Society, having a blooming practice, being very much in the focus of the community, he started doing legal methamphetamine stuff. And of course, I'm son, I find those drugs too. And I find out that's like my favorite because you get the illusion, no, it's real, that you're better at operating and getting a lot done under the influence of
it's probably
a drug.
It was back then. It's probably like a prescription.
It's all
higher
script.
dose.
All script.
Well,
we didn't have these black market drugs.
I'm saying it was probably like the next level up from the medicine that they give you for ADD. Like Adderall.
Oh yeah, next level up from that. But see, he's a doctor.
Right.
He can actually script it.
Sure.
To himself.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that now, but back then you could.
Sure.
And he was doing that, and then he didn't get addicted. Our family has addictive behaviors. My mom, she got addicted to morphine. Mm-hmm. We didn't go through that, did we?
No, we didn't.
I was growing up. But anyway.
You just did. Back surgery. She was addicted to morphine.
Yeah, and she lost her mind, and we committed her to a mental institution. I'm going to have to finish this story for you.
Yeah, keep going.
Well,
just do it.
Anyhow, she got, when she had 5 unsuccessful back operations. was in probably as much pain, if not more, than my wife was when she was in the worst part of her cancer. And they prescribed her, she was in a body cast for over a year. A body cast. We carried my mom into Christmas. It took my dad actually up here, and me on this leg, and my sister on that leg, and her arms are fixed also. So the body cast went from here to here, down to her feet. Okay? Total sensory deprivation. She's on morphine and she loses her mind. I'm talking about became the meanest woman, and I've met a lot of mean women, but the meanest woman I have ever met in my entire life was my mom. And my dad had a lot of corroborative opinions that she was not fit to be in society, and he committed her to a mental institution, of which she was in for a year and a half or so.
Okay.
This is when I'm in high school.
Okay.
But Mom is gone.
Yeah.
I had a great dad. Well,
he's holding it down.
He's holding it down.
Yeah.
And anyway, she goes off to this place in Asheville, North Carolina, to a shrink who's a Freudian shrink. I don't know what y'all know about Freudian medicine, but it's like out there somewhere. It's like not, to me, there's no logic to it.
Beyond logic.
It's beyond logic. I mean, they were analyzing, of all things, her dreams. This dude did it. He, after a year and a half or maybe 2 years, I don't really remember, he snapped my mom, cured my mom. No longer addicted to drugs, no longer addicted to nothing. Back to my mom. I got my mom back.
That's great.
Oh, man. You don't even know. Now she was somewhat of a mean mom, but still I got mom back, okay? I mean, first of all, I was me, and I was still disobedient and experimenting with everything I could experiment with.
Right.
So, but she did it in a rational manner.
Okay.
God, I thank that man so much.
Yeah.
But that man went and killed himself right after he cured my mom. Took his own life.
He didn't have anybody that could practice on him.
But only after he counseled me and my sisters, he told me, which I was beginning to wonder, he told me I was normal. Just hearing that from a man of authority.
Right.
In the medical field,
Yeah.
a shrink, which is like the highest you can get.
Yeah.
I was like elated. Mm-hmm. I'm normal.
Okay, good.
And, well, no, I didn't think I was, but I was. He told me I was, and that cured me of whatever I had from that. And he told my sisters they were normal.
Good.
And so the family
kind of comes back
sort of
together.
came back. Before my dad goes, you have to go to the Citadel.
Right.
Or
right.
Join
and so when he says you can go to the Citadel or you can join the military, what did you say?
I said, Dad, I'm 18. I don't have to do any of that. And I'm not. And he got irate.
So what is irate for your dad? So I called him Grandpa because I never saw Grandpa.
He raised his voice.
Okay, I never saw him mad.
Right. He raised his voice. I saw him mad twice. That night, and when I disrespected my mom much later in my life. And he goes, don't let me ever catch you talking to my wife like that.
Wow.
And being the man I most respected
Yeah.
my entire life,
It worked.
yeah, it worked.
So you say no.
I said no, and
So what was your solution?
John Cochran, my best friend.
Okay. Did his dad have a similar conversation with him? What was his conviction?
You know, I don't know. Didn't really care about him and others that much. I know I had a problem. I mean, I'm a kid.
Yeah,
okay?
so your
Pretty
decision was you and John Cochran are going to go do what?
much. Well, we started a plan. And we go, well, let's leave Greenville, South Carolina, and let's become self-sufficient. So now you have to know John too. John Cochran, at the time, was the most redneck. He's from Alabama. Most redneck person.
Wait, he's from Alabama?
Yeah.
So how are y'all friends in South Carolina?
His parents lived in Alabama.
Okay.
Right across the line from Guin. Is Guin in Alabama?
I don't know.
Or is that Mississippi? Guin, Mississippi, I
don't
think.
think I've ever
But
heard
right
of
across
Guin.
the border from Guin, Mississippi, was where his parents lived, and his dad inadvertently got swindled into buying some swampland in Mississippi, in a place called Fulton, Mississippi, which is not far from Elvis's birthplace,
Okay.
Tupelo.
Yeah.
By not far, 30, 40 miles.
Okay.
So John and I purchased the Foxfire series, which tells you how to do everything to become self-sufficient.
Okay.
In a time of no solar cells, no technology, no nothing.
Nothing.
The real way.
Right.
Okay, so we decide to do that. So we sell all our earthly possessions, all of maybe $1,000, and buy the property.
Wow. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, does it make a noise?
No.
Yes. Because that was it.
All right, well, bottom line is we're flipping. We just go.
Gonna go live off the land.
Let's go do it.
Yeah.
And so
I've got all those.
on the way down there,
Yeah.
I'm reading the books.
Oh, first time in your life.
Yeah. John hadn't read them either. He just had somebody tell him that's the books you need.
Okay.
All right, so
We'll read them when we get there.
yeah. So anyhow, we sell everything we own. We have some money, and the book tells us what to buy: sugar, flour. I forget. There's a whole list.
Yeah.
Okay, and pigs, chickens, fishing gear, that type of stuff. So we do all that. And then it comes time to build the cabin. That's like chapter 3. It needs to be at the beginning. Chapter 3, it goes, okay, to build a log cabin, you must cut your wood 1 year, 1 to 2 years in advance of building your cabin, or it will shrink and compromise the structure. We go, oh, shit. We ain't got no time. We're here. And so we just start cutting wood, notching it out, building a log cabin. John and I had never done any physical labor our entire life. I'm a doctor's kid. He's a country club kid. John is just John. And we didn't know how to do any of it. So we did the most beautiful cabin. It was amazing for no skills. And so, but it wasn't a month into that journey when the cabin started creaking. Okay? Plus, we're so busy. When y'all don't ever go out and do a homestead with nothing. Okay? Because guess what you're going to come home with? Nothing. Okay? We go out, we do this, what today they call a homestead, and we work our tails off. We wake up, first of all, you have no choice. And even today, if you're where we lived, there's no cell signal, even if you had one, but there were none. So we had no communication with the outside world. What we did have communication with was what God provided, which is the sunrise and the sunset. And we had X amount of time to survive. So we built the cabin, and we realized during building the cabin, we didn't have nothing to eat. And so we'd only get half a day in before we had to go find something to eat. Chickens were too small. Pigs hadn't been castrated. Oh, that was horrible. I know exactly what they're feeling. You ain't doing that to me. But anyway, none of that. And then we got to eat, so that leaves fish. We didn't have a garden in yet. So we went down to the swamp, which was 90% of our property, and we'd catch fish.
Is that what y'all mainly lived off of, was fish?
100%.
Is that why you always tell me, like, if you're ever going to buy property, make sure it has water?
Yes. Yes. I mean, you can take some little, what do they call, feeders, or you can take some little fish, put them, it's like growing a garden. You can put them in there and they'll grow.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, yeah. I mean, oh my God. So we...
what kind of fish did y'all catch?
Catfish. We had catfish, and we had some brim, and we had some... Brim didn't have enough meat on them when you're hungry. Okay? I love them today. It's my favorite fish. But today is not yesterday. Bass, they weren't big enough either. Oh my God, let me tell you what happened. To us, it was the best thing ever happened.
Okay.
Is a guy is down there, and we let him fish on our property, and I'm probably out of frame, I really don't care. He's fishing away, and he catches a fish, and he is being dragged off the bank into the water. He's got his clothes on, he gets wet, he ain't letting go of that pole. And he pulls that fish back, and he just walked back, and he walked back, and he walked back, and he's like, fish is winning, no, I'm winning, fish is winning, no, I'm winning. Comes back, he got a state record.
Whoa.
Catfish.
No way.
And in Mississippi, a state record is like, yeah. It was bigger than me, for sure. The catfish was much bigger than me.
Wow.
He gets them on land, and we're taking trees and just banging it, and it won't stop flopping and
Yeah.
whatever. Well, that was our food. The guy goes, that catfish ain't no good. Nobody wants a catfish that big.
Bet.
We want it. We want it. And so our refrigerator was the little creek. Now you have to understand, above the flow. And why do I say that? We had not yet had time. Matter of fact, during the whole experience, we never had time to build an outhouse. So we had 2 trees fell across the river with a toilet lid. And we'd crap and piss in the river and store our fish above that.
How did you store it?
In the cold water.
Really?
You can eat fish forever. Don't let them tell you expiration date is a week from today. That's a lie. You store it till it don't smell good.
Okay. So I'm just thinking like raccoons, all that. How did you handle, were they live fish? Y'all built like a live trap well?
No, these are dead fish. Well, these are alive until they die. And then they're just in a cage in cold water.
Okay.
Now, when they die, you gut them.
Yeah.
But there's nothing colder than the water.
Right.
Because we had no electricity. We had no...
Yeah. I mean, it's where I put my beer
water.
When I go down to the creek.
We had no... Yeah.
Put my beer in the creek.
We had no nothing.
But that's... How long do you think you could keep a fish in the creek? Of course, I would guess
if
that,
it's alive, a long time.
So y'all really did have like a live well built in the creek?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
You know, it's... people, especially back in the 70s and 60s, this planet was so polluted.
Back then?
Yes.
Not now.
No.
Because now we have plastic islands.
Rivers, when I grew up, the Reedy River coming over the falls, Reedy River Falls, which is downtown Greenville, now it's like their poster child of a beautiful river.
Okay.
It's 30-foot fall of the water.
Yeah.
With a brown foam.
Uh-huh.
When I was growing up, was much taller than the waterfall.
Wow.
At the bottom.
Wow.
From phosphates, from...
So we've actually come a long way from...
Oh, God, you have no idea. We were screwing this planet up so bad. I was always a big Earth Day person and into the environment. I mean, we were messing it up big time, and we were good at it. Chemicals, heavy metals, which, you know, all of y'all are suffering from now because that stuff is long-term cancer stuff. That's why our cancer rates are going up. You know, I wish Kennedy was right about all this, but most of it has to do with your upbringing. What we want to do is help the Trent and his kids from having to go through all this.
Which is what I think he's doing, because he's found the new age of what you're talking about. So back then it was heavy metals. Now it's dyes and, you know, yellow 5 and red 20 or 40. I don't know what it is, but so
anyway, that experience was after a year. Not a year. About after 10 months. It was the winter. It was cold as shit for Mississippi. Ain't that cold. Sorry about my language. It was cold as shit. And so it's time to go to bed. We go to bed. And we hear this. Cabin was in rough shape, y'all. We didn't let it cure for a year, the logs. It had shrunk like 5 inches on one side, 3 inches on the other. The notches weren't even in place. And we heard that thing starting to fall in. It's cold outside. We have to run outside. We would be dead, but it falls in.
Wow.
Totally.
How big was the cabin?
Huge. It was 8 by 10. When you ain't got no lights and you ain't got no water and you ain't got no crap, 8 by 10 is plenty in it. You just need a place to sleep.
You're just sleeping in it.
Okay, so
8 by 10.
it was big. It's the biggest thing we had.
What'd you make the roof out of?
The roof was made of bark.
Kind of like in shingle form?
Mm-hmm. And it's what Foxfire said to do. We just did what they said. And everything from that series worked.
Yeah. That's what you said last time.
Yeah.
We actually finally caught up
Really?
to last time, yeah.
So,
But there's a lot of stuff in here that you mentioned now that you didn't mention before.
okay.
So that's good.
But anyway, the Foxfire series was great. But the cabin falling in, hey, that was a dog. Sorry, y'all. And I love dogs.
Not our dog. Whose dog is that?
I don't know. But anyway, cabin falls in. We're outside freezing our frickin' what only men have off.
Yeah.
And I go, John, I'm hanging in the towel.
Yeah.
We got to get a job. I said, first of all, it's been a year. I hadn't had a date with a female. I haven't seen a female in a year. I didn't realize how strong hormonal urges were when you're 18.
Uh-huh.
They're like huge.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I'm like, so anyhow, I go, and first place I go to get a job was Mueller Brass. And everybody said, that's where you need to go. That's where you need to go. So I go there, I interview, and they go, man, you're one sharp dude.
Oh.
That's what I said. And then they go, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're overqualified. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Tell me a little more about this.
Uh-huh.
Says, well, our positions are kind of like repetitive tasks that do not take a lot of thought to perform. And yes, we pay you well, but you would think too much. You're overqualified. And I go, why? They go, you have a high school diploma. I went, what? We don't have a single employee that has a high school diploma. And these people are not going to take kindly of you giving them orders when you're not on their playing field.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, where the hell am I? This place is backwards.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so anyway, get refused. So then I find, I don't even know the name of the company I worked for, a furniture factory that made mobile home furniture.
Yep.
Y'all, don't ever buy. If you buy a mobile home, don't take the furniture. Ask them what kind of deal you can get.
That's what you said last time.
Well, that furniture about killed me.
Yeah.